take any sleek new vehicle, a brand new car or boat, the pride and joy of its owners with its state-of-the-art technology and a shiny exterior, then roll on a few more years and see it bashed about by hard use and slowly looking a bit worse for wear. And eventually you'll get to the end of its working life, when maybe a crash or just general obsolescence will see it off to the scrapyard. It's kind of a sad trajectory when you think about it, but it's what happens to almost everything we own in the end. So it's somewhat remarkable that this rusting old hulk behind me here, which has been a feature of Northport and Chalky Inlet for decades, survives at all 146 years after it was first launched. And more remarkable still when we discover this is actually the Stella, acquired back in 1876 as the New Zealand government's official yacht, and destined for a fascinating life in public service before ending up as a freezer for commercial fishing operations.
The government had needed its own service vessel since the 1860s, when a national system of lighthouses was first erected around the New Zealand coast. Supplying them with provisions was a core task for vessels like the Luna, which was the first such government steamer purchased in 1870. But the Luna also doubled as the Governor's personal yacht at a time when the only way to travel around New Zealand was by sea, and also had Defence Department duties. It soon became clear that the lighthouse service needed its own steamers. And so, in 1876, a pair of brand new steamships were ordered from Britain, the Stella and the Hinemoa.
When the Pusica Point Lighthouse was being constructed between 1877 and 1879, it was the Stella that delivered all the timber and other essential construction elements to build it. And in the years that followed, both vessels regularly called here at the Pusica Point landing site to deliver mail and other supplies that were essential to keep the little lighthouse community going at Pusica Point. It wasn't only the lighthouse supply runs that brought the Stella to Preservation Inlet. For little settlements like the township here at Te Oniroa, the ship provided a vital link to the outside world. And apart from the supply and mail runs, and the occasional sweep around the sub-Antarctic islands looking for shipwrecked sailors, government VIPs, including governors and prime ministers, regularly used the Stella to visit the spectacular Fiordland coast. It was one of the perks of office, I suppose.
And in July 1882, it brought two very surprising VIPs, the Taranaki Māori prophets Te Whiti o Rongamai and Toho Kākahi, under house arrest and on a 3-month tour of the South Island.
They spent a fortnight on the Stella, cruising among the sounds and then on up the west coast to their eventual place of confinement in Nelson. That included a 3-day stopover here in Otago retreat, from which they visited sites all over Preservation Inlet. Te Whiti was noted as particularly enjoying some duck hunting at nearby Revolver Bay. But the Stella's time as a government steamer came to a sudden halt in 1889 when a flaw was discovered in one of its shafts and it was laid up.
A few years later, the Stella was sold off, beginning a long, slow decline in status as the ship became a cargo workhorse, towing kauri logs to Auckland and then scrap metal for the Otago Iron Rolling Mills Company. Then, in 1928, partially dismantled, the old steamer returned to Fiordland, where its hull was used as a freezer by blue cod fishermen in Dusky Sound.
Eventually it served the same function here in Northport, slowly corroding away all the time. It was used in the 1970s for a time as a helicopter landing pad for hunting parties, but otherwise it's a more or less forgotten relic of 19th century steam technology. Its former glories hard to decipher in the rusting hulk that now remains. But just imagine if we could turn back time just for a moment and see it as it was in 1876, being launched on the River Clyde in Scotland as a brand new steamer yacht. Its rakish lines and narrow beam attracting appreciative stares from mariners. I guess all things must pass.
As the expedition's time in Taiari and Rakituma draws to a close, The members reflect on their experiences and achievements.
It's been an awesome trip. Weather has been variable, as you would expect, but it's been awesome to visit sites that hadn't been visited for like 30, 40, 50 years sometimes. And then still see that there is some stuff there. Not as much as I would have hoped in some cases, but enough to update the site record forms and have some more accurate information. And there are a few where I actually would say, look, let's go back with a team and do a proper survey and see what we can really find, especially those older ones, those earliest sites. It's an awesome team, and it was great to be part of.
I've had a pretty good time. You know, these 5 days have been quite amazing for me. I spent a bit of time down here in the Sounds, and every time you go into somewhere, you feel a connection with place. You know, the first was going onto that PAR site and going in there, feeling that wairua. You know, it's overwhelming. To know that our people have walked through that place and you know the stories associated with that. The second for me was going through that cave with those drawings in it, and to actually, you know, to breathe that air that was in that cave, to see those imprints that have been left by the old people, and that for me was just an absolute reality shock, eh?
As someone excited and enthused about conservation, it's an absolutely stunning place. It's a lovely sheltered little inlet, the water's warm, the outlook is amazing. It's a beautiful spot.
I'll be back. No, it's just stunning, eh? It's bloody, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, pretty lucky.
The efforts of local Māori, the Department of Conservation and Heritage New Zealand to preserve the culture and heritage of this special corner of New Zealand are tireless.
Main challenge is transport. Yeah, you can sort of deal with the weather because you know you got to wait out your weather when you do. But yeah, transport because you really need a boat or some way of flying in. So that's the main thing, yeah, which is a real challenge. And as you know, it's expensive.
An area of New Zealand conserved for all to enjoy, it is imperative we continue to understand both the natural and cultural significance of our furthest frontiers.